Sex is the life force energy that runs through us all. Can you use sexual energy for your spiritual evolution? Or perhaps for emotional healing? Is it even possible? Clinical Sexologist Dr. Martha Tara Lee will explore all these and more on Eros Evolution on OMTimes Radio.
Welcome to Eros Evolution, where sexuality and spirituality meet. This is Dr. Martha Tara Lee. I'm a clinical sexologist based in Singapore, and my company is called Eros Coaching. That's Eros Coaching.com. I've been in practice for 7 years, and today's episode is all for the men. The title is This One is for the Men. And let me read out the show description. Premature ejaculation, erectile difficulties, delayed ejaculation, and low sex drive are some of the issues men come to clinical sexologist Dr. Martha Tara Lee for. In this episode, she will be examining the differences as well as share what she does in her work with the men who come in to seek her coaching services. There are different kinds of sexual issues people come to me for. However, the ones I listed just now, premature ejaculation, erection difficulties, delayed ejaculation, and low sex drive, are some of the most common issues men come to me. And before I begin going into defining these sexual issues and then later going on to explaining what I do in my coaching with my clients, I thought I would explain a little bit more about myself and my background. I know I've done this in previous shows. However, I don't want to assume that you have come across this information before. So I'm just going to introduce myself properly. I have a doctorate in human sexuality from the Institute for Advanced Study of Human Sexuality in San Francisco, USA. And I pursued this doctorate about 8 years ago. I finished it about 8 years ago, and I've been in practice for 7 years, running a little my own practice in Singapore. This doctorate in human sexuality covers an academic study of the whole spectrum of human sexual behavior. So the different kinds of behavior people have when they are engaging in sex by themselves or with others. And when we talk about sex, people assume it's just a physical act of lovemaking or penetration. However, we're really talking about sexuality, which includes every way a person may express themselves sexually or feel about themselves as a sexual person versus being with someone. So whether you see yourself as a feminine or masculine person, whether you are at ease with your sexual orientation, your sexual identity, your sexual expression, these are all under the spectrum of human sexuality. So I have this doctorate. I also have certificates in counseling, coaching, and sex therapy. So even though I have all these different kinds of training, I am actually not a sex therapist. I do not call myself a sex therapist. I'm not a psychologist. And my approach is really quite different when it comes to working with people with sexual issues, because so I'm making some generalizations just so you can understand the differences. In counseling, which I have a certificate in, a lot of it is really focusing on the heart, the emotions, believing that if you only can
The real conscious connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hi, this is Julie Geigel.
I'm Maggie Chula.
And I'm Catherine Glass.
And we're the Psychic Angel Channelers. Join us every week here on OMTimes Radio for Angel Talk Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
The angels have heard your call and are here to help.
Are you ready to receive?
Remember your magnificence with Angel Talk Tuesday.
Matt Connerton here. Join Jen Coffey and I twice a week for Matt Connerton Unleashed, a political talk show that's a little different than what you're used to. No liberal or conservative agenda here, just an honest dialogue about truth and how things really work in the world of politics. Matt Connerton Unleashed, every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake. Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio.
Welcome back to the show. You are listening to Eros Evolution on the OMTimes Radio Network. Share this show with your friends right now by sending them the link omtimes.com/mobile. With this link, your friends will be able to listen to the show without needing to download any application. How cool is that? Coming back to the show, today we're talking about all the sexual issues that men have, well, actually just the main ones: premature ejaculation, erectile difficulties, delayed ejaculation, and low sex drive. The show is titled, This One is for the Men. Last week, I talked a lot about vaginismus. This is a condition that happens when women's vagina shuts down, making penetration difficult or impossible. And that is actually the number one issue why women come to me for. And this one is really all about the men. So what is premature ejaculation? Premature ejaculation is the most common issue men come to me for. Or at least they may not come to me, but this is the one that they ask me the most questions around. And it's a toss really between premature ejaculation and erection difficulties. So just to make clear what they mean, because sometimes it's confused and one and the same. It's confused as the same. It's not. So ejaculation is sometimes referred to as orgasm. It is not the same thing as a sexologist. So ejaculation is when the seminal fluids exits the body. And orgasm is when you actually have a bodily sensation where you reach a sexual peak. There are men who can have an orgasm. They have trained themselves through tantra practices. It's really not that difficult with some training to ejaculate, to have an orgasm without ejaculation. So you can have an orgasm without ejaculation, and ejaculation is not the orgasm, although it usually happens within a few seconds of that. So people think if you don't ejaculate, you are not having an orgasm. It's not true. So this is just one clarification that I want to make right up there. Also, ejaculation is not the same as erection. So erection is when your penis gets hard and it stands, so to speak. So one is when something comes out from your penis, and the other is when your penis, if you are a man, if your penis is erect. So this is related because the my clients might say, well, I am not having an erection, so how am I going to ejaculate? It's not true. There are men who have learned to ejaculate without an erection. And just because you have an erection doesn't mean that you want to ejaculate. So you might want to think of, say, morning wood or morning erection. Men may wake up with a morning erection. It doesn't mean that they are necessarily aroused, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they want to ejaculate, right? So I hope this is a little bit clearer, the difference for me. I know they are related. They're seen as one and the same, but they're really not. So it's very important to when you're seeking your healthcare provider or seeking out support in your city, like say a sex therapist, a sex counselor, or a sexologist like myself, that you are able to have the knowledge and to be able to describe your concern, because the more clear you are with what actually you're asking, then the better the support you can get for yourself. So that's a very simple definition. We'll go more into it about premature ejaculation and erection difficulties. And then there's delayed ejaculation. Delayed ejaculation is a condition that happens when the person is not able to ejaculate when they want to. So they're taking much longer than they want to. So that's delayed. Often I come across, and also I hear men who joke about this and say, well, how is this an issue? Wouldn't being able to last long be a good thing? Not necessarily, because it can reach a point of frustration and also perhaps pain for the man. And if the person is partnered and you're not ejaculating, sometimes it is linked to fertility. It is linked to the belief of whether the man can ejaculate at all and be able to have a kid. Also, it can cause emotional distress on the part of the partner. If the man is partnered with a woman, lots of women, because by default of the fact that they do not have a penis, it's very difficult for them to really understand what it means to own one and to understand what is actually going on in his male body. So a woman might come up with things like, oh, you're not having an erection, or you're not being able to ejaculate because you are just not attracted enough to me. Or if it's in a longer term relationship and this is happening later, then she might come up with, well, you are not ejaculating, you're not getting a reaction because you don't love me anymore. You don't care about me anymore. They might even come to the conclusion, oh, you're ejaculating so fast, you're just being selfish, you're just taking what you need and you're not thinking about my needs. Or they might say, oh, you're just rushing through the process. It's because you don't really care about me. So these things are really assumptions, and then some second guessing involved. And when you repeat something, a thought to yourself again and again, over time it becomes a belief, and this becomes their conclusion. They concluded that it's like that, when actually there's not any perhaps real communication that's taking place. And this causes even more misunderstandings and anxiety. And really, it's just because a lot of couples, they find it difficult, first of all, even talking about sex, and then now being able to describe how they're feeling in their bodies to their partners who is trying to understand, or sometimes not trying to understand, or even often that's what happens, not even talking about it at all. So that's a delayed ejaculation. And then there's low sex drive. So low sex drive, as the term suggests, is when a man doesn't really feel like having sex at all, whether by himself or with another person. So simply put, low sex drive is linked to libido, is linked to the feelings that we get of being horny, not wanting to do it. And this can be cyclical. It can be due to certain phases of the year, even like seasons or peak periods at work. It could be dependent on, say, even moon changes. It can affect us because we are, largely made out of water. So moon changes does affect our moods as well, even men. And so this low sex drive is not necessarily just physical. It can be emotional. For instance, if they are more sensitive in their nature and they are still healing from, say, having had a fight with their partner earlier in the day. So they don't really feel connected with their partners and they don't really feel like having sex. So it's very painful for men to hear this, where it's like, oh, you're a man, you should be able to get it up all the time. Or my relationship is dysfunctional because my partner doesn't feel like having sex. Is it normal? And really, all of us are different. So it's not true that all men want sex all the time. And sometimes even if they do want to have sex, it doesn't necessarily mean they want to. They have the energy or the fortitude to go through with it. So having the desire and carrying through with it can be different. Some people are just not very interested in sex, and that is linked to their low sex drive, and that is linked to their childhood experiences towards sexuality at large. So some people do have a negative attitude around sex that carries through from their childhood, making the expression of sex and the desire of it connected. So I hope that is linked to, you can see the body, mind, spirit approach, the body, mind, heart approach that I talked about, that this body, mind, heart approach can be used to explain all four sexual issues that men have that I just explained. So a little bit more about premature ejaculation and delayed ejaculation. If you looked at it, one is taking longer than you want and one is taking faster than you would like. So the definition of premature ejaculation, really in a pretty loose way, is when a man is ejaculating sooner than he would like. As I mentioned, it's different from orgasm. As I mentioned, it's different from erection. It's just ejaculating sooner than he would like. That is pretty much the definition. There have been studies, and in sex therapy manuals and in the DSM guide, they try to quantify it with a time. Generally, most men ejaculate about 4 to 5 minutes upon penetration. So this could be the vagina or the anus, about 4 to 5 minutes. There are men who come to me who ejaculate upon penetration. So 1 second, insert, and then they ejaculate. Or there are men who ejaculate even before penetration because of the anticipation of penetration and, of course, the build-up of excitement. So without really knowing how you can overcome this, it can be very distressing if you keep trying different things by yourself and it doesn't work. I have had clients who go online, read something, try it maybe once, and then say, oh, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. I'm too slow. I'm too dumb. I'm just not getting it, or it doesn't, they're just dismissive about certain things. And really, it's not just what you do. There are lots of websites giving you this, that advice, but they may not go into the how, the specifics. And the way you do anything is pretty much going to determine how successful you are at it. So I just described a little bit about the different kinds of sexual concerns, at least the most popular ones that people come to me for. There are, of course, other issues people come to me for. And after this break, I'll go more into details of what you can do with each of them.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
The truth is, you can't change the world if you're broke. I know. I've tried. Isn't it time you turned your life's calling into a profitable, freedom-based business? I'm Michelle Barr. Join me every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern for Sacred Success.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back to Eros Evolution, where sexuality and spirituality meets. This is Dr. Martha Tara Lee of Eros Coaching. You can find me on eroscoaching.com. Today's show is all about the men, and we just went through the different types of sexual difficulties men come to me for most commonly, and they include premature ejaculation, erectile difficulties, delayed ejaculation, and low sex drive. I talked about the body, heart, mind approach to understanding all kinds of sexual problems that people have, and this is no exception. So these are some of the sexual problems people come to me for, in addition to what I just mentioned. So, for instance, safer sex, dating and social skills, confronting sexual trauma, defining monogamy and setting rules within a relationship, sexual orientation, sexual stamina, learning how to love your body image issues, learning how to do sexual communication, BDSM, kink, fetishes, sex ed for children. These are some of the other things that people would come to me for, including being able to negotiate, being men, being women. So their sexuality, the way they feel about themselves as men and all women. So let's go into a little bit more about PE and DE. So PE, premature ejaculation, DE, delayed ejaculation. So before break, I was talking about them being opposite ends of the spectrum. And now I'm just going to drill more deeply into it. So premature ejaculation, it means, simply put, too fast. A man is ejaculating faster than he would like. It is generally true that the man is ejaculating sooner than he would like because his body, his penis, actually feels sensitive. So it's actually sometimes directly due to sensation in his penis, or because his body is not able to hold that energy of build up. And so it's very important to ask the correct questions. But anyway, I'm just using this to explain, okay, it just means too sensitive. just so you get a quick idea of what can mean. So premature ejaculation too fast can be due to the fact that the penis is too sensitive. On the opposite end of the spectrum, delayed ejaculation taking longer than he would like. You can say one is too sensitive and the other one is maybe lack of sensitivity. So maybe through the way the person has been masturbating over time, quietly, quickly, secretly. I always use these 3 words. Well, I don't know why, I just came out with it one day. Quietly, we tend to masturbate without sound. And so a lot of the sensation is locked in our bodies, and that actually causes us to ejaculate much more quickly, which is the next one. And then, of course, we tend to do it secretly because it's something that there's some privacy that we would like. And we definitely don't want to be exposing ourselves in public. So we tend to masturbate quietly, quickly, and secretly. And I think quickly is one of the keywords in understanding PE and DE, which is that if the person is too sensitive, the other one, the person is not as sensitive due to the way they're masturbating. So if you are a habitual masturbator, and we tend to do this, we tend to masturbate in the same way. Think about it, like when was the last time you masturbated and how you did it, and then the time before that and the time before that. It tends to be the same. We tend to have a pattern of masturbation, and these patterns of masturbation don't really change. For most of us, why would we change it? It works. I get from point A to point Z. I get to exactly what I want. I accomplish what I need. We are very efficient, and it comes a point when, because we are comfortable with what we're doing, comfortable with the way we're doing it, we don't want to change it, and we don't see any need to change it. This can actually become supportive of us being able to masturbate quickly, because we don't want to get caught masturbating. We have many things in our lives. We just want to get it over and done with sometimes. So when someone is having a habit of masturbating quickly, what happens is that sensation is gone. So say, for instance, if you're very hard and very rough on your penis as a male-bodied person, and it's even worse when my clients are not masturbating with lubricants. So what happens is the penis is dry, and there's a strong friction against the hand. And so what happens is, over time, they may not realize this, even though they are still masturbating quickly, they don't have any problems ejaculating by themselves. Their penis is actually starting to lose sensation and sensitivity. And because it's something that creeps up on us, we don't really realize. So they don't realize maybe until years later, and suddenly they realize this is happening more and more often. They are having difficulties ejaculating. And by the time there are fights and it escalates, then they come in and see me. This is when I start to ask them questions to better understand what is actually going on. So if they do not have problems ejaculating, but have problems ejaculating with a partner, I would ask them how they are masturbating. And then I will coach them through different ways in which they can change the way they masturbate. So sometimes there are guys who ejaculate, takes a long time to ejaculate. Anyhow, I also teach them how to change the way they masturbate. So with premature ejaculation, it's just reinforced by the way they masturbate. If they masturbate quickly by themselves, they would ejaculate quickly with a partner. So I use this analogy of running for a race. If you're used to doing the 100-meter dash all your life, and suddenly I say, okay, now go and do a marathon, it's hard because your body is just used to going fast. So my clients will get confused. They say, it's not that I don't want to, I'm really trying. Well, emotionally they want to, mentally they want to, but physically their body hasn't learned how to run a marathon. And running a marathon is, as we know, not just a physical act. running a marathon takes mental strength. If you tell yourself, okay, go for it, and then you just go for it at the quickest amount of time, and then now suddenly with a marathon, you have to last as long as you want, well, your body and your mind just gets a bit confused. And no wonder you would have difficulties with ejaculating taking longer to ejaculate, because your body is just not geared for it, and it's sending mixed messages. And also you haven't been training, so to speak, your body to do the marathon. So this is how I explain to my fast ejaculators that one of the ways they can learn how to have longer ejaculation is learning how to change the way they masturbate, taking a longer time. Changing the way they masturbate can mean, whether it's, for anybody who has a penis, changing the way you masturbate can mean lying or sitting or standing in a different position, instead of moving your hand when you're masturbating, because most of us just move our hands. Instead of doing that, perhaps thrusting back and forth with his hips. Can even try kneeling. Can try masturbating in a different position for a place, for instance, instead of the bedroom, maybe the bathroom, instead of the bathroom, maybe the bedroom. And this helps prepare the mind for this. Another tip is if you are having issues with a condom, because what happens with a lot of men is when they put on a condom, they feel the lack of sensation. The condom feels tight. It feels suffocating for some men. Even though condoms can stretch, however, if you want to just have a little bit more comfort, it's important to get a different type of condom perhaps. So even being able to understand how big the condom can stretch easily is important. So like getting a larger size condom sometimes is the solution for men who are having delayed ejaculation. Men who are uncomfortable with condoms need to understand, just like the marathon analogy I mentioned, if you're used to masturbating without a condom, then how would having sex with a condom feel like? The body's just not used to it. The body's like, hey, what's going on? The body is like checking out. And so it's important, and it's very simple sometimes for a guy who wants to overcome premature ejaculation or delayed ejaculation, is to just be comfortable with the condom they are using. And so sometimes I will ask my clients about the role of the condom and how it affects their sexual performance. So I will ask them about the size of the condom and the brand and how much practice they have had outside of having partnered sex with the condom. And most people wouldn't even think about it. And even now, as I say it, you're probably thinking, oh yeah, it just so makes sense. It's really common sense. Well, it's because we don't really talk about sex so much as a community. And so these things that are seemingly common sense wouldn't occur to us. And because I have very specific training in sex and sexuality and also with sex therapy, so I'm able to point out some of these things as my clients begin to describe their problem to me. So asking the right questions will help me be able to get the answers that I need to coach them through. So there are times when my clients don't really understand why I'm asking them about their masturbation practices. They're shy about it, but it's actually extremely important for me to understand their preferences and how that can sometimes be challenging for them in transitioning from solo sex to partnered sex. A lot of so basically we coming up for a break, and I just described in more detail about premature ejaculation and delayed ejaculation, and answered to two big areas. So anyway, we're going to come back after this break, and we're going to talk more about sexual solutions.
bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
What if living didn't have to be so serious?
What if you could move beyond your problems with greater confidence and ease than you've ever imagined?
Throw your labels out the window and join the Irreverent Therapist for practical tips and a very different way of approaching the changes you would like to create.
Marilyn Bradford
and Pam Hodling
have empowered hundreds of people to come out of self-judgment, quit looking to experts, and begin to create the lives they desire.
Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Irreverent Therapist Show.
Do you want to be a better communicator? Do you want to better connect with the important people in your life? Do you want to enrich your relationships? If so, join me, Matthew Cooper, on the Positive Control System Show every Wednesday evening at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on OMTimes Radio. I'll meet you there.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle. Free your mind with OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back to Eros Evolution, where sexuality and spirituality meets. Today it's all about the men, and we're talking about sexual problems that men have. So this show is all about sexuality and spirituality. I haven't really mentioned, other than at the start of the show, about spirit when it comes to sex. So one of the things that happens when a man is caught up with sexual performance, and sexual performance is linked to his penis, whether he can ejaculate, whether he's ejaculating too fast, whether he is hard enough for penetration. It's very much penis focused versus being present with your partner, present in your body. This is one of the biggest tips that I have with regards to being able to feel. If the person is not able to feel and is very much in the head and thinking about this and that and flipping her over, then that can be linked to delayed ejaculation. If the person is not in their bodies and just like getting really excited and not able to hold that vibration, then the person may have premature ejaculation. So presence is a big part of being there, connected with your partner, so that you can have heartfelt sex, emotional sex, they call it. And this is a kind of intimacy that generally most women like and prefer. It's not about getting somewhere and achieving a goal and the destination. It's also about enjoying the journey. And men who are early ejaculators find it really difficult to enjoy because they are just so caught up in performance. So one of the big things is this word called presence. I really recommend this book by David Data, and it's called The Way of the Superior Man. And contrary to the title, it's really about presence and power and really knowing yourself as what it means to be a man. It was very insightful for me as a woman, and when I've recommended this to my male clients, because they have some like uncertainty about navigating life as a man and what manhood means, they have found it really, really useful. Okay, so The Way of the Superior Man by David Data. That's David and DEIDA. So I do have an online program for men who have premature ejaculation, and you can check it out. It's under Eros Coaching, EROS coaching.com/RGSG. So that's a Ready, Get, Sex, Go online program that I have for men with early ejaculation. And there are 3 free videos that you can get describing more about premature ejaculation going to this website, eroscoaching.com/RGSG free. So RGSG free, you'll be able to get 3 free videos explaining more about premature ejaculation. Even though the program is meant for people with premature ejaculation, the treatment method for delayed ejaculation and erectile difficulties, talking about psychological erectile difficulties, they tend to be the same. It's similar. So let me explain more about how I work with clients with any of these 3 issues. It's actually very similar. It's almost like 2 for the price of 1. If I work with someone with premature ejaculation, they tend to have less problems with their erection. If someone has erection difficulties, I coach them through these techniques and they start to have better ejaculation control. Or ejaculation choice. And so the first thing that is very, very important, regardless of any of the 3 sexual issues that a person has, is Kegels. I teach them this exercise called Kegels or Kegels, and it's spelled Kegls. I did mention this in my show last week on vaginismus, but I didn't have the time to go in to explain how to do it. So you can Google it. You can Google my article about it. You can Google Eros Coaching Kegels. You'll be able to find my article. So what is Kegels? And a lot of people are afraid of doing it wrongly, thinking that doing it wrongly will have some negative effect. If you hold your bladder when you are just about to pee, so you squeeze your pelvic floor muscles when you have this need to urinate, but you cannot find the bathroom anywhere nearby. So that movement down there in your pelvic floor region is called Kegels. So squeezing and relaxing, clenching and releasing. So this motion is like one time, right? Squeeze, release is one time. So I actually get my clients with premature ejaculation to do lots, because most of the time they come in, they really want results. I get them to do 300 a day. And so people read about Kegels online. They read some like Men's Health or something, and they say do Kegels, but it doesn't talk about how many. It doesn't talk about how exactly you do it. So I call this frequency, just doing as many as you can. Then the second way of doing it, I call this duration. You squeeze and you hold between 3 to 15 seconds. And then the third way, I call this intensity. So you squeeze and then you hold really tightly. So that's frequency, duration, and intensity. So in describing it, my clients tend to, especially the men, they just immediately go into doing intensity. You, just like anything, you need to have a foundation. So I actually ask them to do more. Less is more. Less effort is more. So I get them to do more frequency first for 2 weeks, and then subsequently listen to their body, what would make it a little bit more challenging for them. So Kegels is not something that you do when you have a sex problem and then it's fixed and you don't have to do it for the rest of your life. No. Kegels is something that all of us should be doing. There are great benefits to it. I don't have time to go into all the tremendous benefits of Kegels. But I do teach this to every single one of my clients as much as possible. I go into the whole explanation, and that takes about 10 minutes, sometimes even half an hour, if I really want to go into the details of it. So I'm just going through it very quickly, read my online article about it. Kegels helps a lot with all the problems that I mentioned. Why? You use your brain to tell your body, squeeze, let go, squeeze, let go. Over time, there's a connection between mind and body. So when the mind wants, the body follows. So it's a little bit like what I mentioned about not being able to run that marathon. And so also, as you start doing them, your pelvic floor muscles become stronger. There's more sensation that is being registered in the body. The signal is stronger. The base is stronger. And so what happens is, as they get stronger, you tend to feel more sensation. You have more control. You have a better connection with your body. You are able to sense better sensation, and so that helps some people to take themselves out of their heads and into their bodies. Very much body-based. And with my clients with low sex drive, if they have, if one of the things that I make sure that they rule out is the physical cause. So if they do like a health check and they do like a testosterone check and everything's normal, then it's usually mental. But I don't just work with mental, as you can begin to see now. Very much body-based related exercises that will help us build confidence. Once you have confidence and awareness of your body, a lot of times the mind doesn't have to work so hard. The mind will kind of like, oh, okay, I can relax. So sometimes talking about it all the time doesn't really help the problem. You need to have skills. And this is what I do in coaching. I teach my clients some of these body-based exercises so that they get more and more into their bodies. They have more confidence and awareness. And then the mind can basically just start to relax. Building confidence during masturbation really helps with them understanding that if they can just keep at this state of relaxation by themselves as they are with a partner, then perhaps they would be able to last longer or maybe ejaculate sooner if that's what their goal is, and be able to stay present in their bodies and be less likely to lose their erection, for instance. So there's a lot more that I can go into. I only have 3 minutes left, or actually 1. And so there's also genital massage that really helps. Going to someone skilled in sexuality issues, very comfortable talking about it, is very, very important so that you can get better information and better, more precise, customized, individualized coaching that you need. And so anyway, my premature ejaculation program does help with all 3, even though I don't usually mention, I don't really market it as that, because people find that, how can one program help so many issues? Because it's very much body-based. And once the body awareness is stronger, the issues usually go away by themselves. It's not something that's a quick fix because it's very much about working with the body. It takes weeks, sometimes months of consistent effort. And most of my work is really reassuring my clients that they are on the right track. It's very important to get the support that they need because a lot of times men don't really know where to go to. They don't really know who they can trust. It takes them effort to open up to someone. And when they're with their friends, really a lot of it is what I call male bravado. A lot of it is very surface level and not really deeper into problems and concerns. And even if they tell their friends don't really have that much more education than they do have. So these are some of the challenges that the men who come to me share with me they face. Some other myths would be it's something you have or you don't have. You're either good in sex or you're not. It's not true. You need some skills, and the skills comes from people who have knowledge. So I have to wrap it up. This has been Dr. Martha Tara Lee talking about men's issues today. And next week, I will be talking about sex and sex as currency. And join me next week as I bring in Dr. Tangi.